Okay, all right. So look, Charles, let's have some fun. All right, it's our favorite week of the year. Let's have some fun. And we can go team by team, quarterback by quarterback, because we all know that quarterbacks make
Right.
the draft and the NFL world go round. But I want to give you like a wide, just space to play in, because I don't know. Maybe I've asked you a question like this before. I don't know that I have, but it feels new. So let's go with it. What is something that you're hearing that your Yahoo and journalistic standards will not let you write or report, but you're like, it's like, okay, it's right there, and this is I know there's something to this, and I'll make you a deal. I'll grant you immunity. If it doesn't happen, we ain't gonna hold it against you. If it does happen, you getting
We'll give
all
you
the credit. So you
All
don't
the
you don't
credit.
need the two
Great
sources.
deal.
You don't need to vet it. It's like, I think this is true. It's just not airtight enough for me to put my name and Yahoo's name and report it. What's that juicy rumor you're hearing right now that you love?
Um, okay, I will focus this through. So I spent the weekend making a bunch of phone calls, talking to some different people. I'm going to continue that this morning, and a lot of people are looking at the Broncos and going, what are they doing? Like, how come we're not hearing anything about the Broncos right now? Like, everybody's so hyper focused on the Vikings and the Vikings moving up. And people have just completely cashed the Broncos out of this potential move up scenario because they lack a second round pick this year, right? And last year the template was set when Houston moved up from 12 to 3 last year. They gave up 12, they gave up 33, and then they gave up their 2024 first round pick. So basically, you're essentially giving up 2 first rounds and a fringe first, right, in that 33rd pick in the 2023 draft. So people are looking at Denver and they're saying, well, they don't have a second this year, and there's just no way that Denver is going to give up a first this year, a first in 2025, and maybe a first in 2026. So people have just kind of walked away from this idea that Denver could possibly be a move team. So here's the thing, like Patrick Surtain, there were calls for him, right, before the trade deadline with the Denver Broncos. And other teams definitely see him as a first round plus type of trade asset. So the idea is, I think there are a number of teams looking at Denver and saying, like, is Denver this possibility that we're not talking about right now? Remember, last year, no one had any clue, really until about 36 hours before the draft, that Houston could potentially move up from 12 to go get the quarterback or to go get Will Anderson, basically to package their top defensive player, their top offensive player on their board, to package those guys at the top of the draft. So I think right now you have teams that are sorting through, like, who is off our radar that
Who's laying in the cut?
yeah, who's in the cut. And I think Denver is the one that they're very, very curious about, because they know Patrick Surtain, and I don't think the organization wants to trade Patrick Surtain. I don't get that sense at all. But if they want to move Patrick Surtain and you want to get up in those top 3 picks, is the Patriots potentially that 12 to 3 move team, just like last year? Arizona moved out of 3 to 12, and then Arizona traded back up. The Patriots could potentially have that option if they were to move back. And would Patrick Surtain, with Christian Gonzalez, not be an attractive option on the table for the New England Patriots and what they want to do defensively? Or another team in potentially those top 4 picks. So I think, I will tell you this, I don't think people inside Denver really believe that's possible, but I also think Sean Payton and George Payton, the general manager, are playing this one extremely close to the vest. And I'm talking about, like, between the two of them, those two individuals and the owner may be the only people who know what the Broncos are going to do. And other teams in the league, though, are looking at Denver's depth chart, and they do not believe Jarrett Stidham and Ben DiNucci are their quarterbacks this next year. Like, there's just no belief other teams that is realistic. So I hate to say this, because I just don't see them trading Surtain. I don't see them trading, future first assets after going through what they did with Russ. But as I always get told around this time of year, particularly when I'm looking at potential trade up candidates for quarterbacks, everybody says, like, the common thing is, look in a 2-year window. You might not believe it'll happen this year, but what are their options a year from now? Okay, what are the, Carson Beck. You hope Carson Beck at Georgia puts up a big year. Shedeur Sanders, another guy Jalen Milroe. You really hope Jalen Milroe takes a huge step forward for Alabama. So the big hanging question mark over next year's class could also motivate the Broncos to make an unexpected move. And I would have to believe Patrick Surtain would have to be involved in that. I may write this eventually, but the curiosity is what is interesting to me, is that you just have other teams that are asking, like, what are the Broncos doing? Are they just going to sit there and take the best quarterback who's left at 12?
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.